Hi everyone! I am going to be showing you today how to make a cute apron out of your husband's shirts that have stains on them or that they don't wear anymore because they don't fit. So I think it's so cute. I saw it on Pinterest and I thought I would try it and see. This is my first attempt at this, but it's just going to be adorable, as you could tell by the picture that I gave you at the beginning of this video. But here we go. What do you think? I'm going to try it and see what happens. So what they said to do was to first cut up the side of your shirt. So I'm just taking my scissors and make sure that when you cut the shirt that, you know, there's a seam right here. Can you see it? There's the seam. And those are basically, I think they're called French seams. And they're, once you cut along the edge of it, you're going to have a finished edge. So you're not going to have to sew that side up, you know, because there's not going to be a raw edge. So you can just go ahead and cut down the side. So I don't know if you can see this. This is kind of hard to see, but you're going to just cut up the side of that seam. See, just right on this edge right there, right underneath the seam. You want to save this piece, you know, the back part. And this is where you're going to cut your straps from. So, oh, this makes me mad. Because look what I did. I wanted to keep this on there so I could have the collar, but let's just see. I mean, I can sew it back on, but I was hoping I wouldn't have to. So I can make it without a collar. It's not a big deal. And then next time I'll show you one with a collar. So this is partly the collar. That is so funny. I cannot believe I just did that. Because normally this would be like this, right? So there's the sleeves that I cut off. We're going to actually use this to tie back here. But in the meantime, I have to cut at an angle. So what you're going to want to do is take this, the good side, if you're doing with the collar, like you're supposed to, and you're going to want to cut this angle right there. So let me see if I can do that without messing with it. And we'll see. So I'm putting it on my desk. Can you see that? Okay. So I'm going to take this and I am going to go up right at an angle, right across here. So where that dips down in the corner, you're going to want to cut it across there. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut off this little piece right there where it curves, and I'm going to keep going up at an angle, and I am going to have to sew this edge because it is a raw edge, and you really don't want to have a raw edge because it'll fray. So there's the two pieces that I took off. So do you see? Now it's at an angle. So I didn't do the other side yet, but I'll show you. So, do you see that? And of course, you know, you're supposed to button your shirt first, which, you know, I did. You could leave it as a collar like that. So this is the bad side that I cut. Didn't mean to. This is the side that's perfect. And it has a place right here at the corner where I'm going to make the string to tie it. So I'm going to sew up this raw edge, and then I'm going to put the string on, and then I do the same to this side, and that would be your apron. And it's super cute, but I messed it up. So I'm going to actually fix that. This is where I cut the collar on accident. So I am going to fix that actually because I want to keep the collar on. It's super cute. So I am just going to sew right here and sew it back together. Very carefully. And it's just, you know, maybe like 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. I don't want to make them uneven on either side. So I'm just barely putting it back together. And I'm just going to sew really close to the edge so I can get it back to the normal look. And I can't get that pin in. It's because this is really thick, this collar, of course, because it has interfacing and stuff to make it stiff. So I'm trying my best without poking myself to get it back together. And then I will sew it if I can ever pin it. Ouch. Keep stabbing myself. Okay, so there it is. Do you see? So it's just 3 pins, and then I'm going to go ahead, put it in my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew right up on that edge. So just, you know, make sure that you go back over it with a double stitch, and then just follow along the edge, and then back stitch to get it on there. Nobody's going to see it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I did that and cut my threads. Just be careful you don't cut your shirt. Doesn't seem like I'm having that great of a day. So I wouldn't doubt it if I did it. So there you go. Okay. Good as new. See, I sewed it all back together. That's what's so good about sewing. And you can just do anything you want. Fix your mistakes. Cut off the threads. And, okay, so what I also did is I cut this side to match that side. So you're just going at an angle straight down to the armpit. Do this seam, the one that goes, you know, around here. So it seems to me like if you fold it and you want to maybe curve it just a tad up here, I think it will fit a little better than keeping it straight. So I'm going to go ahead and sew that seam. So you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to use a hem stitch right from there, from the corner. And of course I'm not going to pin anything. I've been sewing a long time, but you could probably do it if you want to. Back stitch. So this is where I'm going to take out some of the fullness, and I'm going to just give it a little bit of a curve. Since this is kind of like a bias cut, which is great because, you know, it gives you that flexibility of, you know, molding it. So I'm just going to do that. And kind of curve it in this area. And I'll show you close up in a second when I get this done. And then just kind of taper it off as you get back up to the neck. And then just sew right up there, back stitch. And then cut the threads. Cut the threads. Okay, so I'm going to show you what this looks like. Do you see that? So I curved it in the middle just a little bit. So from the back side, you'll see it's skinnier over here, skinnier here, but it dips down in the middle just a little bit. So hopefully that will look a little bit more tailored. So let me do the other side real quick. So I'm going to cut all these strings off. I am going to, okay, there we go. So I got that side and this side. And just if you want to see if you're a even sewer, which I'm probably not, but you can turn it inside out. And then you can put these two pieces together and see how you did. See what it looks like. So they match up pretty nicely. So I did a pretty good job there. So I don't know if you can tell exactly what I'm saying, but you can turn it around. There's the pocket. And of course, you know what I'm thinking of doing, since I am known as the sparkly one, I might just put some rhinestones or something on the pocket. I think it'd be really cute. So I could find an iron-on thing. I can glue on some rhinestones or some pearls or some lace. I mean, you can do whatever you want. An initial, anything, a heart, diamond, star, whatever. You can even paint it if you have a little paint kit. So anyway, that's that. I am going to cut the ties and then I'll show you that. What I decided to do is to cut up the middle of this shirt, okay? So I'm going to go all the way up, just the back of the shirt, hopefully cutting in a straight line all the way to the top. And then I'm going to cut a piece that's probably, I don't know, 6 inches wide maybe, something like that. Because what I'm going to do is cut this in half. So you just kind of eye it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but try to get it as straight as you can. You can also draw this out if you want, or measure it out. And then you just cut across the top behind the collar. So I'm using that, which is great. And then it does have a finished edge on it here, which is probably good. By the time I sew it, I won't have to do that one edge, I think. We'll see what happens. So then I'm going to go ahead and just cut it in half again. Right down the middle. Okay. So now I have 2 pieces for my ties. And hopefully they're long enough. They look like they're about 18 inches long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up this side right here. And I'm going to make, you know, a seam all the way down the side. Again, I'm not going to pin it, I'm just going to hold it. This back stitch right there, lift up, cut your threads. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a safety pin, my handy dandy safety pin. And then you're going to put it on one edge, pin it on, and this is how you're going to feed it through. So you can turn, because it's inside out right now, so you want to turn it right side out. And so you're just going to take that big pin and you're just going to start pulling over the pin. And just make sure you hold on to it. It's inside of this casing. And you're going to pull it out the other side. So you're turning it inside out. So at this point you could probably iron it if you want. I'm not going to iron it. And I'm going to turn this out. Get the good side going on. Okay, so this is the side right here that has that finished edge. So if you want to make, I mean, you can either leave it like that, doesn't really matter, or you could tuck it in and you could sew to get a better finished edge if you want. So that's what I'll do. You don't have to do this part, but I'm just going to make it look a little cleaner. You got to get it underneath there. And it's going through a bunch of layers. Whoops, thing fell off again. So I got to fix my machine. I will be back in a minute. But you can see, and I'll do the other side. There's that little edge, and I'm just going to sew across right there, and I'm going to do that 2 times. Now I have 2 pieces that will be the ties that go on the back of the apron. So at this point, what you're going to do, you could probably iron these if you want. I did not iron them. You're going to take the raw edge, because I ended up sewing the finished edge right there. So you would iron down there. I'm going to take the raw edge, and I'm going to sew it right here at this little V. See that? V, corner, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to follow that V with, I'm thinking how it would go on. Do you do it at an angle? Or maybe it just goes on like this. Right from that V out. I'm going to pin it on right here. So you're going to sew it. See how it comes out of that V right there? So it almost looks like it's part of it, like it's supposed to be like that, which is really what I'm after, to make it look a little more professional, not so cheesy. And generally you make sure that this seam side is down, not on the top. So you have the seam right here on the bottom, not on the top. So it's kind of hidden as you sew. And then you're going to just pin it here. And then you're going to just sew across to tack it on. Okay, so then you are finished. So let me go ahead and try that on, and I'll let you see what it looks like. Hope you enjoyed that tutorial.